Welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about death is a part of life.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hey, welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about how death is a part of life and how we share that with our children. You know, part of the reason this topic came up, I probably talked about it a few episodes ago, is recently in our household, we have suffered a pretty serious loss. Not only in our household, but at the school which my son goes to. One of the teachers had passed, and in addition to her passing, she was the mother of my son's best friend. So the school is in mourning. A teacher of 20 plus years at the same school, highly influential in the school community, but not only there, but in the community in general. Beloved by many, many kids, not only her current kids, but so many kind words expressed by kids who were taught lessons by her many, many years ago. Her service was absolutely amazing, but that doesn't negate the fact that her son now is without a mother, her husband is without a wife, her daughter is without a mother, her students are without their favorite teacher, and a community is without a leader. And when you get that message, I happen to get it in a text message not too many hours after it happened. It was late at night, and I believe that it's a shock, right? She's a little bit younger than I am, and just a little bit of a shock to the system. So it was 10:30 at night. My wife had already gone down to sleep, and I just let her know. And on the message thread, I recognized that somebody who probably would want to know wasn't on this text thread. So I messaged that person, to which that person called me, to which my wife and I were up just talking about life, and not only about life, but wondering how is life going to go forward as a whole, right? All these questions. It may seem like our lives aren't impacted, but our son's friend is now one parent down, which means as a community, as someone close to their family, it's our job to step up. But what's the immediate reaction? Disbelief, sorrow, maybe a little worry in there. What's tomorrow going to look like? How is our son going to be impacted? How is he going to take the news? How is he going to react? How is his friend going to react? How is he going to support his friend? How are we as a family going to support his friend? And then the inevitable. My wife and I both lying in bed. I look over to her and I'm like, hey, what are you looking up? Can I share something with you? As I'm looking up something on my phone, I said, I'm Googling how we tell our son. And she goes, I just Googled it. So we're both on the same path of, we haven't had to do this at this level thus far. Now, I don't know that there's, maybe fortunate is the wrong term, but our son had lost a grandfather a year and a half ago. And with that loss, obviously he knew Grandpa was, but we live, quite a distance away. He saw Grandpa once, maybe twice a year. So in his lifetime, he probably saw his grandfather 10 times. And obviously Grandpa always had toys, and Grandpa was super cool, right? Grandpa always told him how awesome he was, and so he had an affection for Grandpa, as we talked about him a lot. But when we told him the news, and he kind of understood, as we get older, people die, and he'll be missed, and in our house, we'll see him again in heaven. So those things are comforting to him, or we're comforting to him. So haven't had a loss once, but not as close. Some of the discussions over the next few days after this happened have been amazing, to say the least. Kids are in a lot of ways resilient. Us as adults, right? We have too much knowledge, and we know how it can affect different people, and therefore we can sometimes put our energy, our feelings, our disbelief, our thoughts around who takes care of what and how does that all happen, and is there insurance and all this, and we think like a 7-year-old understands that at some level. So over the next couple episodes of this I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, I will be discussing, probably in tomorrow's episode, how we approached him with it, what we discussed, the do's and don'ts that I discovered in my search, and what we did as a couple to share it with our son, because I think it's important. We may go in blind. We may not share right away. We may use poor terminology. And in tomorrow's episode, I just want to do kind of a deep dive specifically into the do's and don'ts and what it is that we shared with our son, so that hopefully it impacts, when this impacts your family, because death is inevitable, you're able to share, because our experience has been a good one. If we could have that when someone passes. So I don't know jack about parenting. I definitely didn't know jack about sharing a loss of a loved one to a child. But I think you should tune in tomorrow to listen to the do's and don'ts and our pleasant experience moving forward. We'll see you in the next episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.